Welcome to my channel. Today I will tell you about a dark and disturbing story that has deeply shaken Italy. This story is not just a simple crime story, it is a complex mosaic of mysteries, hypotheses, and questions still unanswered. Through available documents, testimonies, and an in-depth analysis, we will try to shed light on one of the most enigmatic cases in Italian history. The case that has shaken the tranquility of the city of Rimini in 2023 is the murder of Pierina Paganelli, the 78-year-old woman found lifeless in the garage of her home. This episode has raised many questions, not only on the dynamics of the crime, but also on the background that could have led to this tragic end. Follow me on this journey through the established facts and the investigative hypotheses to try to shed light on a case that has left an entire community in shock. Pierina Paganelli lived alone in an apartment located in a residential neighborhood of Rimini. Described by neighbors as a friendly and reserved person, she led a simple and secluded life. Her routine included daily walks and occasional meetings with friends and relatives. Despite her advanced age, Pierina was independent and enjoyed good health. Pierina Paganelli was killed on the night of October 3, 2023, with 29 stab wounds a few steps from the entrance of her home in Rimini. The following morning, October 4th, her body was discovered by her daughter-in-law, Manuela Bianchi, who later turned out to be the lover of Louis Da Silva, a Senegalese neighbor of the victim arrested in July and currently the only person investigated for aggravated voluntary homicide with the aggravating circumstance of futile motives and cruelty. In the residential neighborhood where the elderly woman lived, the state police patrol cars arrived, as well as barriers to prevent the passage of people and vehicles. Eyes focused on the cameras of the San Martino pharmacy, which is located in front of number 31 of Via del Ciclamino, where the victim and Louis Da Silva lived, who, according to the prosecutor's office, was responsible for the murder as the material executor. The key evidence, according to various investigators, the prosecutor Daniele Paci and the mobile squad, are the frames from a video surveillance camera that allegedly filmed the 34-year-old of Senegalese origin as he walked in front of the pharmacy and headed towards the entrance door of the condominium after committing the crime. However, casting doubt on the reconstruction is the testimony of a condominium member, Emanuele Neri, who questioned the investigator's version. "The person visible in that video is me," he had already said many weeks ago. "The Senegalese's defense therefore aims to undermine the prosecutor's convictions." Louis is locked up in prison, in pre-trial detention. The prosecutor believes that he killed Pierina Paganelli to prevent her from discovering the extramarital affair he had with his neighbor, his daughter-in-law Manuela Bianchi, who lives with her husband Giuliano Saponi, son of the 78-year-old, in the apartment next to the victims. But the murder of Pierina Paganelli may not have been committed by a single person. This is what lawyers Marco and Monica Lunedei, who represent the victim's 3 children, hypothesize. In fact, the lawyers of Pierina's 3 children, leaving the courthouse in Rimini after the hearing to adjourn the genetic tests on the victim's clothing, lifted the veil on the hypothesis that, considering the dark and narrow space in which the crime took place, it seems unlikely that the recomposition of the scene was carried out in a very short time by the same person who allegedly stabbed and killed Pierina. This is what the lawyers claim, placing the accent of suspicion on some grey areas of the reconstruction of the phases of the murder. First of all, the timing of the crime, which lends itself to the hypothesis that everything took place in 2 phases. The first with the aggression, and the second with the recomposition of the scene. Precisely that reconstruction of Pierina's body arouses the suspicions of the woman's close relatives. The investigations revealed that she had with her several personal effects closed in her bag, including a tablet, a wallet, a smartphone, handkerchiefs, a diary, and some sweets. All material that during the homicidal aggression, however, would have fallen to the ground. But then why was the entire content found again placed in the bag? Reflects interlocutory the lawyer Monica Lunedei. The objects were in fact stained with Pierina's blood, evidence that they had come out of the bag during the attack and come into contact with the wounds inflicted on the woman. We therefore believe it is unlikely that a single person in the dark managed to put everything back inside, down to the last candy. According to the prosecution, Da Silva killed the woman to prevent his relationship with Manuela Bianchi from coming to light, also driven by the desire to protect his lover. Pierina's alleged attacks against Manuela are also supported by her brother Loris Bianchi, heard in the prosecutor's office on October 5, 2023. In front of the investigators, Loris admitted that he immediately thought of Louis Da Silva as the person responsible for Pierina's death. Then I thought it could have been my sister, driven crazy by taking psychotropic drugs. According to Loris Bianchi, in fact, Pierina mistreated her daughter-in-law and everyone who was in some way connected to her. The man admitted to the authorities on October 5, 2023, that he had learned of some phone calls during which Pierina had used unflattering tones towards him and Manuela. She said she was a prostitute, Bianchi explained, and that I was her pimp. This really set me on fire. Then the news of her death arrived, and I immediately thought that whoever killed her had acted to get justice, in order to eliminate all my sister's problems. On January 8th and 9th, 2025, the evidentiary incident will take place in front of the building on Via del Ciclamino in Rimini. Louis Da Silva, the neighbor currently in prison on charges of murder, will be present and will have to parade in front of the cam tray of the pharmacy near the building to allow the experts to recreate the exact same situation filmed in a confused manner by the video surveillance system. The neighbor Emanuele Neri, not involved in the news story, will also do the same, having said several times that he recognized himself in the film, but who retracted everything in front of the investigators. In an interview, Manuela Bianchi, Pierina's daughter-in-law and Louis' former lover, reiterated that she recognized Louis Da Silva as a good person, incapable of committing a crime, and that she was shocked by his arrest on charges of murder. In my heart, I think I knew an altruistic man, a hard worker who always respected older people. He was very balanced. It seems impossible to think that he could have done something similar with such cruelty to my mother-in-law. Meanwhile, Louis' wife, Valeria Bartolucci, declared, Manuela hoped to get pregnant by my husband and run away with him. She was convinced that a pregnancy would have caused the situation to explode and would have put Louis with his back to the wall. In the studio, flanked by her lawyers Chiara Rinaldi and Antonio Petroncini, the woman retraced the evening of the murder in Via del Ciclamino, her relationship with Pierina and, above all, with Manuela, before and after the crime. Valeria vigorously brought up what she believed was Manuela's plan. From the various messages they exchanged, which emerged from wiretaps in recent months, it emerged that Manuela hoped to get pregnant by Louis and thus be able to go and live with him. Bartolucci spoke at length about the betrayal suffered by Manuela. We were friends, I confided in her, I told her my secrets. Not all of them, not the most secret secrets. And she reacted harshly to Manuela's latest statements, who sent a long message to the Rete Quattro program, calling Valeria a very ugly person, and hoping that Louis will separate from her to get his life back on track. Manuela lied to me, she cheated on me, and when their secret relationship came to light, she never had the courage to confront me. The suspect's wife repeated several times during the TV program. Bartolucci reiterated her belief that Louis is innocent. He was at home with me, I saw him. It's impossible that he came down to kill Pierina. Beliefs that clash with the reconstruction made by the agents of the mobile squad, who are investigating the murder on Via del Ciclamino, coordinated by Deputy Prosecutor Daniele Paci. In a few weeks there will be an evidentiary incident to understand if the man filmed by the camera of the pharmacy on Via del Ciclamino on the night of the crime was actually Louis. But Valeria, looking at the images during the broadcast, says she is convinced that that's not him. How can you say it was Louis? You see a black arm and a white arm, unless it's a Ringo. The wife of the only person under investigation for Pierina's murder says she has made up her mind about who killed the 78-year-old, but she didn't want to name names. And when asked if Pierina's killer deserves life imprisonment, she replied dryly, Of course, whoever killed her deserves life imprisonment, even if it was Louis. Yes, but I'm sure it wasn't him. The news of Pierina Paganelli's murder shocked the community of Rimini. Many citizens participated in a torchlight procession in her memory, calling for justice and greater safety for elderly people living alone. This tragic event has sparked a debate on the need to strengthen social protection measures and the prevention of crimes against the most vulnerable. Pierina Paganelli's case is an open wound for the community of Rimini. Although a suspect has been arrested, The trial will be essential to clarify all the details and ensure that justice takes its course. Pierina's story reminds us of how important it is to be vigilant and support the most vulnerable people in our communities. If this case has affected you, leave a comment with your opinions and share the video to make this tragic story known. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next insights. Thanks for following me.